everybody, and welcome to the third session of our AMA. We took a little bit of a break last week because we were traveling to a major conference, but we're back, all jollied up together in the office here in Berlin. We've got with me, this way, Sofian and Alisher. And my spatial awareness this morning is not great, but you can see the team. They are with me today to discuss a little bit of some themes that we saw either pop up last week and also talk a little bit about our project. So with that, good morning and thank you for tuning in. I want to start our conversation this morning with basically what we've been up to in the last few weeks. Maybe, Sofian, you want to give us a little recap of what we were up to last week?
Yeah, so happy to be back. Last week we traveled to Cologne in Germany to attend the international rail conference, um, which was dealing with IoT and big data. So right up our alley. Um, um, on the bottom line, I would say of these 2 days is that obviously we are dealing in a business segment with very large and very slow players. And one kind of fun takeaway is that for the rail guys, it's still all about the boxes. So all types of boxes, but it's very chunky and very segmented. Everyone has their own kind of sensors, and no one is actually thinking about how to integrate all these types of data, be it sensor or visual data. But really, it could be anything like also counting data on seats. No one talks about the integration, and that's kind of where we want to place ourselves, where we have been placing ourselves. The train is a big project linked also to cities and to general mobility. And yeah, I would say we were a bit ahead of the game, but still really had interesting talks with different players all around the world. So great to have been there.
Yeah, it was exactly as you say. I think it's all about the box. We said that in a jovial term, and we even posted a TikTok video about this. But more to the point that everything is vertically integrated within these types of solutions, so that the operator, ultimately the client, the user, is a little bit stuck with a very complex infrastructure he needs to manage at the end of the day, having different types of systems for each application. It just doesn't make sense, and somebody needs to come in and create what we thought would make sense, an abstraction layer that coordinates and connects all these individual systems. But it was very interesting to see, and to your point as well, it's a very slow moving industry in the sense that there's a lot of regulation, there's a lot of ISOs and other homologation rules that are applied. So that is obviously probably one of the slower moving industries when it comes to digitalization, but also saying that there is a lot of, for example, mobility data out there, and we will talk a little bit about what we do with it within our project shortly. Awesome. But whilst we've been doing all of that, we've also launched the first NFT project that we, as GeoBlocks, wanted to create together with an artist. Maybe Sophia, you wanna tell us a little bit about what you guys or what we have been doing there, and I'll complement with some of my takes on that.
Sure. Yeah, that's definitely the second thing we were up to last week. So we are full steam in our Genesis launch in cooperation with Daniel Diaz Pinheiro, also called Disabel. And we are launching some kind of art project, but that is a bit more. Some you will probably
Yeah, there's a lot
tell
more.
a bit more. But I think one symbolism is there is we are going out with the bull, which in this macro environment where everything is going down and everyone is doubting really all the paradigms of the last decade. I think it's great also to work with artists that really have a lot of experience and also come up with great designs for our community. So on the supply, we are capping it at 888 balls. These are all handmade. For the pricing, we are already having thoughts, but obviously, I think this should also come as information with all the perks and all the extra additional benefits that these NFTs will grant. They will be built on the Polygon chain. As you guys know, we are a firm believer of Polygon and the last kind of initiatives also towards enterprise solutions is really solidifying our trust on this Polygon chain. Yeah, and baseline, this will be the first collectible in the GeoBlocks Earth.
Yeah, there'll be so 888 bulls. We price them in Matic. That is 169 Matic. So just in and around $100. Or stable coins, what a word. But really trying also to give good value, right? I think we are pricing ourselves with a massive USP, which is access to GeoBlocks from a utility perspective. So there will be member perks, of course, some Easter eggs that we will drop along the way. But I think most essentially you buy the art, you are a owner in the first digital gallery that we will be launching on GeoBlocks towards the beginning of summer. It will be exhibited in Barcelona on the beach, on the front seafront, so a really cool location. There is a story also there behind it. As you say, the symbolism is really in this dire times to come up with a signal of hope, right? Hashtag WAGME. We are all going to make it. I think there's a real value added when you start thinking about NFTs as art and being something more. And this something more is obviously the virtual land and the entire GeoBlocks multiverse experience, where we've started to write also a little bit of content on our website, explaining a little bit how we see the metaverse worlds evolving into a multiverse concept, augmented reality playing a big role in there. So yeah, that is the first project that we're launching. We hope there'll be many more, but this will be obviously always remembered for us as the birth really of GeoBlocks as a platform. So yeah, release date 8th of June 2022, and we are going to essentially open up the sale. At this point, you can get whitelisted beforehand by either joining our Discord server, and the link is down here today. Really, the directions us. So discord.gg/geoblocks. You can also just go on our launch page and also just register with email if that's easier for you. Yeah.
Perfect. So it seems actually we were quite busy last week, so we have an excuse why you didn't hear from us last Wednesday. Yeah, I can only reiterate the point. Join our Discord, get on the whitelist. It also gives you more flexibility, in terms of how you want then to participate in this inaugural NFT issuance. Just also ahead of secondary market trading of these NFTs.
Fully agree. And you just get also access to the team. I think this is unique. There's no real, I mean, there are projects out there, but there's no, just deep tech company that says, hey, speak to the team. Our, tech team is there. We have weekly meetings also just for the community, and we jump on the VC on the voice channels at any given time to talk about the project. Alisha is always busy producing content as well for us. So yeah, it's just a place to be until, of course, to get the best info about the project and the best access to the team. So I think beyond just the art, it's being part of the community, being part of the project, and making it evolve into whatever the community wants ultimately, because we're there to serve the community. Awesome, and I think it's a good segue that we speak about Disabel, and his vision for the bowls, and also how he came about this. And he's a true artist. He's a little bit reluctant to obviously jump on a podcast with us straight away, but
But we will have him here. He is just such a great guy. We will work him so that he will join us on our podcast.
we have to get him. He's an absolute joy to talk to, and also he has a really meaningful story behind this. And let me just if I can show you. So he specializes on of course normal art. He comes from a background where he did worked for agencies, digital marketing, or the early stage, like early 2000s, before devoting his entire career to just arts. About 10 years ago here in Berlin, where he worked on various projects. I think there's a very renowned house that we know from our youth, Tacheles, which was a arts initiative, very nice area. Unfortunately, for the sake of building luxury apartments, has been kind of dismantled, and it was heavily criticized and covered by the news as well, but comes exactly from this type of environment. So a true artist, and then also obviously the inspiration for the bowl. This is not something that he just came up for us. This is true art that he created in the moment, when he basically went to the Museo Nacional de Prado, where he saw the Goya exhibition about the theme of the bull, and that's where it comes from. It's like it's a true symbol of Spanish heritage, and there's real inspiration behind the art. But then what we felt, I think, is really that we had to give also his work some true content. And I think what we're offering with GeoBlocks, the virtual studios or gallery, the ability to have utility out of these smart contracts and tokens, is ultimately the value add that we can add when you marry technology and an art.
Beautifully said. Yeah, and so again, join our Discord, get whitelisted. This is obviously just the beginning, but as always in life, it has huge advantages to be amongst the first movers. And yeah, the launch 8th of June, and we will post more information on our Discord and other social media outlets as we go.
Awesome. I want to talk about GeoBlocks then. I think it's good. We've talked about the art. Let's talk about the platform, what's going to be. And obviously, there's nothing live just yet, and we keep the suspense until the launch end of June. But really what I want to emphasize here is the components and the utility. So geoblocks.earth, really inspiration from Yotl Maps, being just a map where you can establish ownership, claim certain parts of land, and start enriching them with content. And when we talk about content, it can be real content like we're producing right now, our podcast, but it could be devices, it could be real-time streams of cameras, it could be anything really that the mind desires. And so I want to talk about the components briefly and explain how that works. I think the first differentiation is most of the metaverse or virtual land projects are like Decentraland or Other Side or the sandbox, come from a pure virtual type of space. And us working with the medium of the map really allows us to ground ourselves into the reality. Um, it's always very important for us as a vertical. The other thing that we wanted to do is make it also extremely relevant by providing what we call the digital twin, the service layer for all the users. So we enrich already the map with a lot of content that we deem qualitatively very good, and that enriches everyone's day-to-day lives. And here we talk a lot about infrastructure, smart city, mobility, e-mobility, shared mobility, charging infrastructure, but also just the metadata of the city, right? You want to know everything that is in around you, but we take it to a level a little bit deeper, and we say actually what we want to build is a version of Google Maps, but on steroids, or I don't know, L-citrulline or any of those creatine, or all these supplements, but essentially really empowering massive use cases. And here, I mean, we've got our famous map, the Yotl Maps digital twin, which is going to be one of the layers of GeoBlocks. So if you're already impressed with this, you can expect more, because this is just going to be one of the layers, the service layer, that enables you to know anything in real time, from airplanes, right, to like little buses, trams and trains here in Finland, for example. So yeah. And then the other layer, which for now we will keep in suspense, are the little is what we call the GeoBlock layer. Essentially, that's the interactivity layer. That's the content layer, where you can upload anything you want, you can share anything you want, and you can interact with real-time avatars, etc. As we progress with the releases. They're composed of 3 by 3 by 3 meter cubes. We call them meta cubes, and they're real containers essentially, where you can put anything that you want in there. It can be a game, it can be pretty much anything. And by combining these meta cubes, you can create individual spaces, and these spaces are GeoBlocks. And we chose the 3 by 3 meter dimensions because we wanted to make it super micro, so that we can really replicate what's going on in the real world, because alternative products are probably much more larger scale. I think it goes from 10 by 10 to 100 meters, which is obviously a little bit less flexible when you're trying to replicate areas of more dense population, for example. So yeah, with that, I mean, you guys want to add anything to the projects?
Yeah, sure. I think, I mean, let's also talk about the ownership structure in GeoBlocks. I think that makes it even more interesting if you compare it to the pure virtual land plays like Decentraland, Sandbox, or the Deeds. I mean, what you have to understand, I think, is that basically GeoBlocks enables anyone to acquire digital ownership in the real world. And as Sami mentioned, we are already integrating a whole bunch of real world data, and it's more than anyone, even when the transport sector is integrating or has a view. And if you care to check out Yotl Maps, I mean, you can only be amazed about how much data and how real-time data is integrated there. So that's a key point, and that's also where we place ourselves as a Web3 play. It's really the ability to access as a normal, just like for instance the big guys we talked to in the rail conference last week, the ability to really secure your part of this digital twin of the world is already one huge element where I just don't see anyone comparing or even competing with what we are about to launch and what we already have in production. If you check out the map. The second is obviously the hidden layer, the GeoBlock layer that obviously also needs a lot of creativity, but also enables anyone to deploy a lot of creativity. And here again, ownership is key. Because I think by securing your stake in this platform, you can also shape the tools that will be at your hand to shape your own virtual land. So here also it's very unique compared to other projects out there that usually, if they have some real project behind it and not only a white paper, they tend to give you access just to a finished and not modular product.
Yeah, and while you've been explaining a little bit about the GeoBlock layer, been looking just at this space, right? And then Helsinki here, and really also, for me, it's always amazing to see how granular the data can be, and having seen also the prototypes and what we've been working on, the ability when you spot these types of areas here, it clearly looks like some sort of amusement park. Just the possibilities of integrating any type of content onto that map, with all the added benefits of having all these travel solutions. We can integrate the payments, any types of real-time information that you also want to have, or offline kind of events that you want, or online events, offline from the real life, so to say, that you want to bring onto this for me is really appealing, and much more appealing so than just a pure game.
Exactly, and maybe to finish up, I think the cherry on top is obviously the blockchain that runs behind it, the access to the blockchain that is also given to any stakeholder in this platform. We use Polygon, which also enables us to offer different types of blockchain tools. So if you kind of want to run your own blockchain, say Elon Musk with all his satellites wants to hook them up on his own blockchain, and it's information that is maybe too critical to just have on a public blockchain. GeoBlock is powered by something that also allows any user to choose the level of privacy they want to have their data be displayed. So just to say, you can also just use it as a full in-house solution.
And it's funny you mentioned Starlink or Elon Musk and their satellites. I've just checked over Berlin right now. There's no Starlink, but it's a beautiful day, as you can see. Somebody's definitely busy at work this morning. So are we. But I only managed to find one in Germany right now. Starlink 21 and 92. So also really cool. You can see that stuff on the map. I find it amazing.
So they are already there. Elon, let us put you on the blockchain.
Yeah, there's also 3331. Yeah, they're already there. You can put them on the blockchain, and as you say, you have the full flexibility of going also onto another one. The beauty of as to why we chose Polygon is extremely high efficiency, their commitment to net zero, and also other companies. I mean, Meta, Instagram. Did eBay
eBay, yeah, eBay.
eBay as well. I mean, a lot of the major players are going into that blockchain. We particularly like it because it's truly decentralized in the sense that it's also built on Ethereum, and it takes all the advantages of Ethereum whilst enabling on that layer two a much more efficient implementation. I think that's a cool segue that we did here. I mean, amazing flow today. We're like a radio show. The next subject we want to speak about is more related to the markets. We talked just yet about, or just now about eBay. There's some major moves. Maybe any updates from you, Sofian? What you've seen in the space going on, crypto adoption? Anything you want to report on?
Yeah, well, if we read the headlines, it's day 15 after Terra Luna. So I think internally we already digested the entire topic on stablecoin. We also put out some comments on stablecoins. Obviously, we've also been doing our due diligence on the different types of stable coins that are out there. And here, central banks have also now 2 weeks after the fact pushed back against crypto as a whole. I think reading yesterday's statement from a publication of the ECB that says that digital assets don't have any value. That's really something where I would like to push back. I think right now, obviously, because of the major loss and the major implication on this stablecoin, algorithmic stablecoin, let's call it what it is really also kind of negatively affecting the policy perception of the entire crypto segment. But I think it's true for any industry. You have bad players, you have good players, and bad in the sense of just in terms of quality. I don't want to presuppose any bad intentions on anyone. But I think as we develop and we are in a high growth stage still, despite the generally unfavorable macro environment, I think there will be this kind of sorting and there will be failures. But for all 9 failures, I would say there will be one unicorn or one big achievement. So that's kind of my take on it. Maybe also from my point of view, we definitely see that in for policymakers, be it central banks or finance ministry, the topic is very fast evolving, still too new for most of the policymakers. So their analysis is also not fully comprehensive in essence, I would say. And I think, I mean, just if you hear on one side the relative the negative view of central banks regarding crypto, but yesterday you hear that Stripe now enables instant and direct Bitcoin payment. You really see that the market is moving at a very, very fast speed on that. So Stripe, one of the largest payment solutions providers in the world, really onboarding Bitcoin is one another one of another major steps for the wider crypto adoptions. And also, as Sami mentioned, eBay, but also Meta in the past week, really
Balenciaga as well.
Balenciaga, Tag Heuer, I think also,
Yep.
all going into smart contracts. So here it's the Ethereum blockchain, really investing and deploying themselves on these blockchain just shows that there are so many potential users, so many possible benefits that the larger economy is adopting the crypto and blockchain technologies at a continued high pace.
I agree. I mean, this is exactly what we've discussed. Is on the one hand, regulators have been really quick at jumping, obviously, on the situation. It was a great opportunity for them also to position themselves. And I think Yellen came out within hours of Terra, discussing. She was testifying in front of Congress, saying, "Yeah, we need regulation. We want to do it this year. Let's work on this." But at the same time, major corporations making their first moves, integrating crypto payments, accepting crypto payments. I mean, I think you have a real push from very credible companies. All of them have are very, you know, digitally fine companies. I think they've embraced either online shoppings. They see this as the next sales channel, the next distribution channel, the next product development cycle. When you have luxury brands who've been suffering from certain things like counterfeits, but also ability to create true communities, and this tool suddenly becomes a true, the smart contract becomes a true enabler for these types of use cases. So I think it's amazing to see, and despite all the down energy that we're seeing in the market and crypto not recovering that easily, you know, there is a real promise of a better future. And as you say, some will fail, not necessarily because of, you know, it might just be the market, it just might be the exact way they implement a solution. But as you know, you want to have failure early on in terms of that, so that we have real, true, powerful solutions. And I mean, everyone knows 99% or 90% of crypto will fail ultimately. We have 20,000 cryptos. You know, that leaves us probably a short 100, maybe 200 mainstream cryptos at the end of the day. And it's about, you know, being flexible, being able to interoperate between that. And that's what GeoBlocks is really about. Is, you know, we start with Polygon, but as the market matures, we're super agile in the way that we've designed everything. We can integrate, we can, you know, go to a different chain, we can cross build bridges, we can think about these things. But I would say it's all driven by the community. You got to start somewhere, and as the community grows around the project, you know, we can provide that additional service because there's utility. Right now, us building these things doesn't make true sense.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, if we talk about the crypto and the 99% failures, obviously here we are talking about cryptocurrencies and not all types of blockchain-enabled contracts. For me personally, the Hail Mary is obviously the central bank digital currency that we are awaiting in the next 10 years. I would say 10 years is optimistic as a former central banker myself. I would say, especially in Europe. I think in the US they will be able to move faster. But obviously, this kind of currency just also destroys the value of products, financial products like stable coins, right? Because if you have a digital US dollar, why do you need the digital US dollar of Circle or Tether to have the value of USD? But here for me personally, like the question is more than a financial one. It's really about the role of central banks enabling all their citizens to have the full access, yeah, to the monetary policy that they are making. So it's about bankability, about transmission of monetary policy, and so on. It's honestly a political question. And how I see entrepreneurs, individuals, and small businesses. We are talking about the big businesses that are deploying their smart contracts, but it's also something where small businesses and individual entrepreneurs can be active and can already today and 10 years before we are really also moving on the government and bureaucracy side into the digital age. This is really now the time to position yourself and to reap also the first mover advantages. That's how I see it. And obviously, we have a lot of in-house IP we are generating around crypto, because obviously we are also positioning ourselves as a service provider to the community of GeoBlocks. And we will, as we go, always try to be as as helpful also to the community in navigating all these changes.
Yeah, and as you say, so we've to try and make sense of you know, the overall market, and also in the context of UST and understanding, you know, different money flows, right? Crypto flows across the spectrum, and activity on decentralized exchanges. We've launched our analytics dashboard. and I think there's a few items that are obviously very interesting. Activity on the bridges being the ability to jump from one network to the other. So, for example, from the Ethereum network to the Polygon network, and which ones are the most actives. We've got obviously decentralized exchange volumes. That is, decentralized exchange where people have and buy and sell their crypto, the stablecoin volumes, and the daily volumes as a historical view. But you're building here on a much larger dashboard. It's obviously all evolving and you're developing more and more. Maybe you run us through what you've seen in the market, and this is accessible for everyone, of course, right?
Yes, sure. So, as you said, I mean, we are here leveraging information across many different nodes, with a special focus, obviously, on everything Ethereum. What we have seen on the markets is a slower end of the month, especially on NFT marketplaces. This is obviously also linked to the price of Ethereum and Ethereum linked tokens going down over the course of the month by some 10% against USD. But still, there's a level of resistance also in the NFT market, and we also have to draw averages. Although right now volumes are shy, the monthly volume for May is really strong, with a lot of demand for projects across the board. So CryptoPunks, but also Bored Ape, Other Deeds, Moonbirds, so or also OK Bears, which is on the Solana chain. On the decentralized exchanges, also May has been very strong. Obviously, through the Terra DPEG, there was a lot of activity because people were exchanging their stablecoin tokens. A lot of volatility also implies a lot of volumes on financial markets. So here also a very a strong month, and really showing that the gears are working. And for me, especially on the decentralized exchange front, it's a passionating subject, because here obviously these guys, the Uniswaps of the world, they are competing with major players such as Circle, that are obviously also moving at their own pace. Circle is now trying to get into the NFT space, possibly because they are losing market shares to decentralized exchanges on the token and currency exchange front. So this entire segment is really moving, and here I would definitely see some decentralized exchanges making a lot more noise in the coming months.
Awesome, great updates. Um, but as you see, there's a lot of pressure in the market right now. Also, just across assets. You've got, on the very macro front, you've got hike cycles. You've got finally a little bit of a strengthening dollar, which also actually put further pressure on crypto generally. And then you've got the entire UST situation. That is, definitely leaving a little bit of a sour taste. But talking about traditional stocks, tech stocks, we saw Snapchat drop 40%. We've seen a lot of companies laying off staff, some with more conviction than others. I think Netflix laid off a few hundreds or something, but in the scale of things, that's not really that's, I don't know what it was, but it wasn't a massive layoff. But what I love at the same time is Binance going aggressively out, and posting on social media, hey, we are hiring. We want to take talent out of those companies and hiring, because they see a great future. I think they have tremendous success, these guys.
For sure. And locally speaking, I would also mention Gorillas, so the Berlin-based grocery shop, or online grocery shopper that has laid off a lot of people, 300 in its Berlin headquarters. And for me, Gorillas is kind of the example of this late Web 2 play. That is
Agreed.
just having a lot of trouble in establishing themselves. Also, a player. I mean, it's really hurtful to see this all these 300 people being let go. But Gorillas by no means is known as a good employer. We've heard over the last years a lot of complaints of their bikers, and just also issues in the share, the distribution of revenue to the community that is essentially behind Gorillas, because no app can deliver your groceries in 10 minutes. It's people that do, and they haven't been fairly compensated in the past, and now surely they are not being fairly treated. So for me, it's really an example of how do you want to build a platform, how do you want to enable your services to be sustainable, because these Web 2 plays, Web 2 companies that come with really a 2000, early 2000 visions of how you do internet commerce. They are not sustainable, not at least socially not sustainable. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's really now for the startups to stop thinking Web 2. We are at the late innings. There's a lot to learn from Web 2, and there's a lot of technology to implement. And I think you cannot endeavor into Web 3 if you're not a master of Web 2 and Web 1 and anything around it. Um, and I mean, look, we claim to be masters of Web 2, and we've demonstrated that we're masters of Web 2 just through the sheer implementation and the pace also of implementation of our project, and moonlighting some entire industries, because we started in rail, but we also figured out that we are basically 10 years ahead of rail, and we need to offer this solution to someone who's a much more digitally apt. And look, the Web3, the metaverse community, the crypto community is exactly where we're playing into, because that's a forward-looking community that says, hey, we want to have real projects with real utility, that leverages all the technologies and the best technologies. Awesome. I mean, with that, we're going to leave it here. I think we're just about at a 45-minute mark, like last time. So we're going to keep up the conversation. Do check out everything that we put out. We have a TikTok account. We have a YouTube, of course. We've got a Twitter, LinkedIn. Although we do have our views about LinkedIn and what people engage on there. Everyone chuckles, I can see. But most importantly, we have the Discord. I would highly recommend everyone to join that, because that is where you're going to catch Sophia, you're going to catch Alicia, you're going to catch me. You're going to be able to see all the content that we put out before anything else, and you can engage with us, and you will be part of the whitelist for all the projects, or the upcoming project, obviously Toro Rico. As a reminder, Toro Rico, about $100 for an exciting NFT, a real art project, and a real utility behind, with GeoBlocks as the platform that will be hosting a bunch of stuff around the Toro Rico exhibition. And of course, we will keep you posted on the mint, 8th of June. Do check us out. Thank you guys. Have a lovely day.
Bye bye.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Bye.